As you say, we have a global reach as Bimser International. We are active globally. And I actually performed a pretty detailed presentation about who we are and what we do. So we are active in North America, South America, Africa, Asia, Australia, and New Zealand as Bimser International. And our other group companies also taking care of Europe, Middle East, and Central Asia, for example. So, and we are channel only. We only sell through we only offer our services and our products through our partners with different content. So today we have Intacct Business Solutions with us, and we have Jogu and Jambatia with us, and we'll learn from them. Jogu, John, welcome to our summit, SYNERGIZE 2021 Annual Summit and Conference of Bimser International. Thank you for joining.
Thank you very much, Kevin, for the introduction. I think I can take over the screen. I'll be able to share.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Please feel free. Thank you. Again, at the same time, you are watching maybe on Zoom, maybe you are watching on YouTube. We have right now 2 live broadcasting going on. If you have any questions, please type in the chat box, and we'll address your questions in Q&A session. Jogu, thank you very much. We can see your floor, your screen, and floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay. I hope hope it's full screen now.
Looks good. Thank you.
All right. So thank you, Kevin, and team. And thank you for people. Is it good morning for some people, good afternoon, and good evening for some of the members here. It's a pleasure for me to join in on this webinar and also to introduce us. So my name is Jogu Gitao. Work for a company called Intacct Business Solutions. We are based in Kenya, East Africa, in Nairobi. And basically, I can just take you through the next slide. So it's just to talk to you briefly about who we are. So we started in 2003 in Nairobi, Kenya, but we do have some regional presence. We actually do have an office in Uganda and have interacted with other countries in the continent, which I'll show in my next slide. But just to give you an overview of what we are made of, we are around 60 staff, consisting mainly of application developers, business consultants, and administrative staff. And our partners that we work with, being Bimser, one of our main partners that we work with for the eBA solutions and the likes. We're also a strong Microsoft partner, gold partner with Microsoft, and we do their solutions and products as well. We also partner with a company called Zebra Technologies on the hardware aspect. So part of the solutions that we develop on the platform on Microsoft or whatever software platform, we're able to develop it and put it on the mobile devices. We also have another product for our partner that we partnered with called Hardcut Asset Management. They're based in Australia. And also we have another partner, Honeywell, on the hardware as well, competing with the Zebra, but we also resell some of the hardware products as well. So some of the products, yes, is a Bimser eBA, which is what we've been implementing for one of our clients. And we also are into the Microsoft Dynamics, the ERP, CRM, and D365 and likes, including Power BI and also Office 365. We are also in the asset management space and mobility solutions, where we provide RFID and barcode solutions, and among some of the services that we provide there as well, in terms of project management, even application implementation, support, and others. So just briefly on what we've achieved, Microsoft is one of the awards that we received, being a gold certified partner, and also we received the award for the CRM for West East Central Africa in 2012, and we also received the award for dealing with the public sector in 2017. And also we participated in one of the top 100 mid-sized companies, which is basically the fastest growing top 100 companies in Kenya, which we've been featuring for the last 6-7 years. So these are just some of the achievements that we have. And just to show you very briefly is in terms of the presence, as I mentioned earlier, we do have a regional office in Uganda, but we have experienced and worked with some of the clients highlighted in blue. I mean, we're not tied to our boundaries. We're happy to work within the continent. And also probably what's not mentioned here is we did do some work also in USA, California, working for one of the NGOs for implementing a CRM solution. And also we have done some implementation in Germany for the ERP solutions, D365 Microsoft product. So basically these are the areas that we worked with in a number of countries. So we are open and willing to see what other business opportunities are. So I think just one more slide is just to show just a sample of some of the clients we worked with. Most of them are local that we have here, but at least one of the international brands that you might know is the Diageo brand that does the manufacturing of alcohol and beer. So one of its sister companies is EABL, who they're one of our existing clients and for one of the solutions we've done. So this is just a select few of some of the clients and just to tell us who we are. And basically, I think at this point, this is okay for the introduction. So the Q&A, I would like to ask my colleague, John Bhatia, who can come and take over in the presentation to talk about the solution for eBA and what we've done for one of our clients. So I hope, John, you're there.
Yeah, Njogu, I'm here. You can hear me?
Oh, yes, perfect. Perfect. Welcome to SYNERGIZE 2021. Yeah, thank you for connecting.
Thank you, Kevin. Glad to be here. So,
yeah, you can share your screen anytime you like.
Yeah, sure. So allow me to share my screen. And thank you, my colleague Njogu, for the good presentation. So if you can see my screen, let me know.
Oh, yes, definitely. Just a brief introduction. As I mentioned earlier, at this meeting, we work very close with Njogu, John, and our colleagues at Intacct Business Solutions, and they are active in Epicor region as Njogu presented early on. And John Bhatia is a senior product manager at Intacct Business Solutions. Let's hear and learn from John what he thinks about eBA, how position in the marketplace, and the experience in general. John, floor is yours. We can see your screen, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kevin. And maybe good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everyone joining in this session. So about eBA, I would say maybe I'll give a case scenario. Before we partnered with Bimser International, we had a very major challenge with Business Central, the solution I'm just showing here, because we are Microsoft partner. And the challenge we had with Business Central is that it did not have an expense management module where employees can request for money, especially when you are having maybe like government employees traveling around any country of the world, a place where employees can go and request for money and approve it through the system and be able to account for the same or claim for the same. As you can see here, this is eBA, which is it can be hosted on cloud. It can be cloud-based, which you host it on the cloud, and also you can have it as on-premise solution. So it offers that flexibility. It is also role-based and also modular-based, because the current eBA you're seeing me logged in has only expense management, because that's what it has been set up currently. But you can also set it up to have more modules. And currently you have expense management and also workflow management. So this would have necessitated, if we would not have partnered with Bimser, it would have necessitated for us to build the solution in Business Central. Of course, some people may say, yeah, it's easier, the user will be happy with the solution in Business Central. But the real challenge that was there is that within Business Central, for every customization, you need to go buy tables and all that. And I also appreciate the Bimser team because of the workflow module, which I'm currently showcasing, which is also within the system. So the workflow module within Business Central is a bit not as flexible as it would be in eBA. So that was also the other bit, that even if you are to build the solution in Business Central, not only would it be a bit costly, number two, it would also mean that the workflow structure is not as flexible as it is within eBA. So eBA allows you to define a workflow, like a user here will create a document, it will go to, from the requester, it can go all the way to the manager. And in case it is rejected, you can be able to set the workflow, even if you can also set a workflow for what happens when a document is deleted and all that. So we can really say that the solution has added value within the system. And maybe to take you through the expense management is that these are user requesting for money, so they would be in a certain division, province, project, and the fund. You can also put in a description here, so maybe it can be a feasibility study. Study that they are actually going to do in Kampala. So here they would add the nature of expense they are doing, and also the flexibility of the system really came into play. Just note that when I select the per diem, which is like a night out expense, the system expands to more fields. It's asking me what is the location. What is the location? What is the location? It's also going ahead to ask me which location it is. In this case, I'm selecting a town. And the good thing about the system is that it's also able to know if I'm selecting a given town, what would be the cost of the employee requesting for money for that given town. So allow me just to refresh the screen. Let me say, leave the screen. No problem. I'll come back to eBA. So as the solution is loading, what I'd like you to know is that the system is flexible, because the type of expenses we had is that we have some expenses which are tied per location, so that if you select one location, just allow me to demonstrate that. Just use a new expense. So if I was to select the transport one, you'd see the difference. So if I select a transport expense, it's just asking me for an amount. It's just asking me for an amount, but if I was to select an expense called per diem, it would ask for more fields that I'm supposed to enter. So that's the flexibility I'm talking about in regards to a certain in regards to eBA. Then it also notifies you whether you are doing, because you can request for money for only yourself or for maybe a group. So if it was not self, it would need to ask you which is the employee that you're actually requesting money on behalf of. So that's the flexibility I can give in terms of eBA. So in terms of customizing the solution, the Bimser team were very resourceful, so that they were able to link up with our developers, share knowledge across board, so that we are able to really develop this solution in-house. So that also was an added advantage, so that anytime we need to deploy this solution, we can only maybe request the Bimser team on need basis whenever our team are not able to deploy. So we also have expense reports and expense claim. So on my end, possibly Kevin, ideally that's what I wanted to share in terms of eBA, in terms of how it really assisted us in terms of saving costs, in terms of Business Central cost of customizing, and also in terms of time, because really eBA, the tool, we had just to make a few modifications and just integrate the system with Business Central and save us on time for customizing the solution within Business Central. Yes.
John, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yes. Appreciate it. Great demonstration and presentation from Jogo and from your side. So that's actually a demonstration of eBA working with Microsoft Dynamics Business Central from the scope of expense management, which is actually a common practice for any company, right? Regardless of where you are, you all have expenses, you all have reimbursement activities, and what differs is the hierarchy as to how you're going to be basically processing that. So is it going to be you're just going to be fill the form and you'll just take it to the finance manager, or you're just going to take it to an accountant manager, or there's a supervisor in between? Depends on the organization and depends on the structure of the corporation, and maybe depends on the amount, maybe depends on the transaction, right? There may be different criteria, different rules that you like to apply. Then you can digitize it and prepare it on eBA in a digital environment. So just like John mentioned, saving time as for designing the business flow and the forms, that is crucial, and that is where eBA makes a difference in market. So instead of designing these, for example, on eBA with a drag and drop technology, what if you were just doing straight out coding, for example? How much time would it take? How would you run it? So that's something to think about. So that is a great saving in terms of timing. There is also business continuity that we need to think about. Business continuity as in, whatever that we put together as a solution in our organization, that has to be, you need to be able to use it regardless of who is working at the organization. So that is basically the part of the business. I can sit down, I can put together a code, I can put together an algorithm, and so on. But anything that I do, that has to be documented, that has to be understood by the following team members of the organization. Which is very tough to actually practice, it's easy to say. On eBA side, well, that's also, just like John mentioned, supported by our channel partners in different regions and supported by Bimser International. You have that business continuity in place. So you have the business continuity for expense management, for change management, or just like Coco presented and demonstrated early on about tooling management, for example. So you have many different options, and you can utilize it based on your company's requirements, priorities, and challenges, I must say. So another thing that we also need to consider is the flexibility. Also, things change. Maybe today you are running your business travel expense maybe this way, but maybe a couple of years later, you're going to change the way that you are handling expenses, for example, or expense payment and reimbursement. So on the eBA side, you have that flexibility as well. So we have also a couple of questions lined up. Maybe we can address those questions with you, John and Jogo, and also we can also talk about this a little bit if that's all right. Yes. Some of the questions are very similar to what we received on the with Team Ideal Consulting. There are similarities. Some of them are different. So one of the question is about developing it on Business Central versus developing it on eBA. So how much time would you spend on eBA to develop an application versus how much time you will spend on developing an application on Business Central? In general, you can answer if you can, John.
Yeah, I would say that it's possible within a month to actually have within eBA a solution working if the solution is not, if the requirement by the user is not that complex. So if you are talking about maybe on Business Central, you're talking of maybe 2 months, and also not discussing the cost implication that is involved with buying more tables. Yeah, of course, that's the estimate I can give based on the experiences we have had. Yeah. You got that, Kevin?
Yes, that was great and informative. So, yes, of course, these answers are in general, these are just indicative answers, just so you know. So I'm receiving the questions, I'm sharing with our panelists, our speakers. Any answer that you receive from our panelists These are general answers, just so you know. So it really depends on customer requirements. Really varies from customer to customer. So yeah, I appreciate it, John. Thank you so much for indicative response. Much appreciated.
Sure.
Can we also use these applications on mobile application of eBA if we want to?
Come again, Kevin. Sorry.
So if company would like to use these, for example, while using Microsoft Dynamics, can they also use it on mobile application?
Yeah, on other applications.
Yes, on the mobile application. Actually, yes. So that question is very similar to what we received actually in the earlier session. So any form that you design on eBA, similar to the one that on the screen right now, for example, you can easily manage it on mobile application of eBA as well. So
yeah. Sorry, Kevin actually hadn't gotten the point on mobile. Yes, it's very much possible that the forms that you actually design here, it's possible to deploy them. And probably I didn't mention because probably the specific client wasn't using the mobile application, but it's very much possible to do the same things that you're actually performing on cloud or rather on premise. You can be able to do the same on the mobile. So it's very much possible.
Great. Yeah, definitely. That's addressing the question, I believe. In terms of the complexity of the workflow that you experience here, so is there any limit, or how was your experience as to designing this workflow, for example, for expensive personal purposes?
In terms of complexity of the workflows, I would say eBA actually exceeded our expectation, because ideally the normal workflow within Business Central, it's quite limited for those who've used Business Central. So essentially having a workflow that even can integrate document management is quite a handful actually, and resourceful. So most workflows within most systems don't handle document management and instructions on what is to happen. I can also quickly mention, outside the expense management, I do know that eBA can be able, like for example, if a user has actually completed a training, it's very much possible using eBA to generate even, for example, has completed a training, you can design like a questionnaire, and it is checking whether the answers are right or wrong. And if the user passes the exam, it actually can generate for them a certificate that they have successfully passed and completed. So you can see that you're having a workflow module integrating into document management and into training and certification. So it's very rare to find a system that can do all that while meeting the user needs. So I would really say that eBA really workflow tool is one of the most greatest tool within eBA, and very few actually systems that I've actually seen that can match these combinations of document management, business application, all the way to training. So yes, it can handle complex situations.
Thank you, John. Much appreciated. Also, you pointed out actually nicely. So in terms of compliance, we talked about compliance a lot yesterday. We had some experts with us. We had expert hour sessions at SYNERGIZE 2021. So compliance is also very important. Compliance in different industries. For example, there may be a public organization, that may be food and beverage, pharma, healthcare, aerospace, aviation, for example. Other than that, automotive is heavily regulated, and they have a lot of compliance requirements, for instance. So all these basically can be managed on eBA. So one of the challenges that actually we were talking with some of our partners yesterday during one of the sessions, for example. So when companies are trying to comply with different regulations, so one of them was about OSHA, for example, in construction and manufacturing industry. So there is a compliance requirement in US called OSHA. It's a federal agency, and you need to have safety and security measures in your organization, for example. So when you're compliant that standard, for example, companies sometimes forget about paperwork, record keeping, or they are forgetting sometimes about training. And you actually shared a pretty good example in terms of training, for example. Some trainings are periodic. So it's not like you train somebody once and you are done with it. It doesn't work that way. You need to do it periodically, maybe monthly, maybe quarterly, maybe annually, or maybe every 6 months. And if you are not using a tool, something like eBA, to automate and digitize your compliance processes, for example, highly likely you'll forget about that frequency. And if you have hundreds of employees or thousands of employees, you definitely need eBA type of application. So the reason also we offer eBA, we also had a conversation with some of our customers actually last week. So what makes eBA unique was the question, what makes it different marketplace? And our answer is basically ease of use. That's easy to use. Literally, it's easy to use. It's easy to use in terms of developing the applications, as John mentioned earlier. And it's also easy to use in terms of end users. So they can easily access, learn what to do, and they can run their business process. So in that sense, that ease of use and user-friendly environment supported by Bimser International 24/7 support is an offer hard to refuse, in other words. So that is critical. Also, just to jump your point as to so ERP system. So in general, there are categories in the marketplace, and it's similar to any other product in the marketplace, right? So there are, if you think about cars, for example, there are cars specialized in sedan. There are cars specialized in 4x4s. There are cars specialized, car brands specialized in as in trucks, for example, right? So they are specialized in certain categories. So that is why. So in that sense, also in the software industry, there are categories. So ERP is ERP. Workflow automation platform like eBA is workflow automation platform. Quality management is quality management. Asset management is asset. So it is hard to cross the line, because when you try to cross the line basically between categories, it is hard to satisfy customer expectations, because it is each category requires expertise, and that is a critical part. And we have decades of know-how and experience of the site. That is how we develop eBA in that sense. So yesterday also we demonstrated next generation of eBA called SYNERGIZE, for example, through cloud workflow automation and digitization experience as well. So we have those coming up as well. So eBA is for today and it is for tomorrow. And the scale that we have actually we are offering right now on eBA is enterprise level. And in last 2 years, we also positioned eBA in mid-market as well. So right now we can offer our solutions to both to mid-market as well as enterprise. So that is flexible eBA at the same time. John, one of the questions that actually we receive is, what other industries would you position eBA?
Other industries other than maybe probably in the government sector, I would say maybe industries are handling a lot of invoices. That is, for example, you have a company specializing in procurement, where you would have matching of invoices. Like, for example, you require that the system in the ERP, you match the GRN together with the invoice that has been sent by the customer. So we do understand that eBA is fully integrated with OCR, where we can set up a template for a certain vendor, so that anytime an email is sent having the attachment of the invoice, the system would automatically capture that invoice and match the GRNs with the invoice. So with the company handling a lot of invoices from suppliers and they want to automate that, we would actually recommend eBA on that and a workflow for approval. Then also eBA would be also positioned in the insurance industries, We have also, around in Kenya, we have received quite a number of queries and actually performed system demonstrations and demo with some large insurance companies that want to go paperless. So really, any organization will needing to go paperless, they should really look into eBA and the document management solution to actually fully automate the solution in terms of how they generate their contracts in the system, how they get those contracts approved, amended, archived. So eBA and QDMS, the document management solution, really help an organization to go paperless. So majorly the insurance industry and those who are handling heavy procurement and require to match invoices with the GRNs. Those are industries I would actually recommend on eBA, and any organization essentially wanting to go paperless. eBA is the way to go, and together with QDMS. Yeah.
Great, thank you, John. So our conversation is going also right now very informative, much appreciated. So I'd like to turn to also Jogo. So Jogo with us actually presented in general at the beginning, which we much appreciated. And Jogo is heading the business development applications and operations of Intacct's business solutions, as he mentioned earlier during this presentation. Jogo, is there anything that you'd like to share with us in terms of your experience in eBA and in marketplace?
Yeah, actually, I'd just like to add what John was saying. I think eBA, there's a lot of potential in terms of opportunities. I mean, we're talking about a paperless, using a paperless solution to help automate business processes in companies. So yes, insurance companies are there, government is there, even the finance industry. We are talking about a bank. You can imagine all the business processes it goes through, especially, reviewing loans and any other process that happens. So it actually opens up a lot of possibilities, even in manufacturing as well. And some of the things that we're also looking at quite closely is the asset management. So for asset management is really looking after the status and knowing where the fixed assets are in a company. So when you're talking about just a process of this moving assets from point A to point B, or the process for acquisition, process for disposal, this tool will be very handy for a lot of companies that you just do it online on eBA. It's a paperless solution or platform, if you want to put it that way, which can be integrated now with the fixed, the ERP solutions, the likes of ACP, Oracle. So it's just one of those areas to look at. So you can imagine it's not just the insurance industries and the government, but a lot of places, even the law firms. You can imagine the kind of paperwork that they're doing and the processes they're going through can be digitized and automated. So there is quite a lot of possibilities. And given that John Batty and possibly the team that has done demonstrations before, has already demonstrated that it shows eBA has that flexibility to deal with complex workflows and processes that it can handle. So I think there's a real opportunity to see how this solution or this product can be extended to a lot of companies where you want to automate the business processes. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Jogo. So just to add on to Jogo's sharing, for example, there are subcategories in certain verticals, certain industries, for example, let's say manufacturing. So when we think about manufacturing for a second, there are types of manufacturing. So there is process manufacturing, there is discrete manufacturing, and there is assembly lines, and other types of manufacturing operations, for example. And some of the challenges that we have in the marketplace that companies are facing, they cannot be addressed simply by a packaged software. It is actually a unique solution needed in that particular case, for example. That is also a great opportunity for utilizing eBA. And for example, one of the customers that we have been actually utilizing that eBA was about, for example, processing dairy products, milk, for example. So they are processing, they are basically processing more than what they can hold with their organization. Right? So that's a challenge for them. So they need to basically utilize their manufacturing operations in a way that the timing-wise and their production planning-wise, they need to produce in a way that whatever they produce, it can be more than what they can hold, but anything they can hold, that needs to be shipped out to customers or dealers, for example. So that time frame that they need to manage is a problem, for example, they need to address. So we offer them eBA for that challenge, for instance. That's a pretty good example. So they save time, money, and they can utilize their production operations, for instance. So the workflow engine is actually pretty flexible. Basically, workflow engine is a set of rules that you actually organize operations. That is actually what it does. So just like Jogo mentioned, so manufacturing is a pretty good example in addition to other industries. Jogo and John mentioned. So that's critical. Let's see if there is another question that we need to address. So one of the questions actually is about applications that you manage on eBA. Is there any limit as to how many applications you can have on eBA? So let me see. Well, to address the question, so John is here, Jogo is here. I mean, actually, there is no limit as to how many applications you can hold on the eBA platform. That is the advantage about it. So, for example, John showed us briefly on how the customers using eBA. If they like to have more applications on the same eBA platform, eBA is ready. You can put as many applications as you like on the platform to digitize business. Just in terms of training, there is a question about training that I received. How is the training experience with eBA for end users? Have you had a chance to train end users on your site with eBA?
Yes. I'll talk about training in two ways. Number one, the training, of course, and partnership with Bimser. Noting that Bimser are global, the kind of bit I liked about their training is that they were able to give us guys who are actually closer to our time zone, so that we are able to work together around the time that that is where we both operate on the same time zone. In terms of interacting with end users in terms of eBA, they found the system to be very user-friendly in terms of especially document management, in terms of attaching documents. And also another feature I probably forgot to showcase was the feature where you are able to even view the document within eBA, so that you don't have to even download the document. Not many systems can actually use that. So the system was quite user-friendly, and also together with Bimser, you are able to create the solution within Business Central, so that essentially the user cannot even know whether they are working within eBA or Business Central. So the user experience in terms of training, the system is quite user-friendly and intuitive. Yeah.
Thank you, John. Also, to the point of Jogo, he mentioned asset management, asset tracking. So we can definitely utilize eBA for that purpose as well, for tagging or for approvals for tagging or asset tracking, for example. In addition, we can also utilize our system called Beam. We didn't cover in this session, partner hour, but Beam is our enterprise asset and maintenance management system, and that is also able to manage assets and also manage maintenance operations of assets in an organization. When we say assets, these assets may be machinery, equipment, fleets, and also other corporate assets that you may have at your organization. So asset tracking, asset management is also another important practice of eBA, I must say, in general. So I'm glad Jogo mentioned this. Good. So is there anything else that you'd like to share, Jogo, from your point of view from business development and practices before we end our session? Intacct?
Hi, Kevin. Sorry, I'm fighting this mute. I find you mute.
No problem.
Yeah. No, I think it's from my experience and hearing what John has said. I think, like I said earlier, we really are thankful for meeting Bimser International, because in the past, I can tell you, how do you say, had done an introduction that we have been in operation since 2003, and basically as early as 2006, 2007, we were actually looking for a document management system then. And one of the solutions that we were looking at were very, very expensive and very high end. I'm not saying Bimser International is not low end, they're also a quality product, eBA. But in terms of the costs, we find that eBA is very friendly, and it's something that we want to leverage on and take advantage against our other competitors. So we are looking forward to doing a lot more work with Bimser and your team, Kevin. So looking forward. Thanks.
Thank you, Joko. Much appreciated. John, would you like to share anything else before we end our partner hour with Intacct?
For me, it's just to reiterate what Jogo has just said, is that actually not looking only on eBA. On Bimser is a one-stop shop for many solutions. You're talking about eBA, QDMS, there's BIM. So there's many solutions by one partner, and I also want to commend the dedication by the Bimser team. They are always available on weekly basis to train our team, be it the business development team, our maybe a team that actually is handling the implementation. We really appreciate the support, and really Bimser is a partner to work with, and they walk with us through the journey from when the user, or rather the customer, is asking queries about the system in terms of the demo, proof of concept, to implementation, and even to support. So we are really grateful, and looking forward to work more in terms of more projects with Bimser, for sure.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Thank you, John. Thank you, Jogo, for your contributions and sharing your insights about eBA and your experience with eBA and Bimser International. We also appreciate your partnership as well. Thank you so much. And similar to Ideal Consultant early on, as demonstrated, we are also looking forward to working with you closely in your region, in more eBA projects and other projects of ours together. We are definitely looking forward. Then at the end of the day, what is good for any of our partners is good for our entire ecosystem of Bimser International. That is how we are looking at it. Also, we are also developing and building our ecosystem, and at the same time it's growing. So this growth also requires some additional steps on our side. So we also created an F marketplace on our website, you can see. So that is also growing for applications, eBA, available on our F marketplace. So we are looking forward to further eBA's reach in the marketplace. As also I mentioned earlier, eBA is for today and tomorrow. And if you also like to have a true cloud experience, we also have a solution for it, as well as next generation eBA called SYNERGIZE. We demonstrated yesterday on a high level. And I'm sure we're going to work more about eBA in coming days, coming months. Intacct's business solutions in Africa and the region. Thank you very much for your contribution.